y'all? This is your boy, T.R.U.T.H, tired. We've been on the road now since September 22nd, and I don't even know what date it is. What's today's date?
Today's October 7th.
October 7th? Is it? Wow, time is flying. It's been a glorious time. We in Houston, Texas, on the MISFIT Tour, trying to prepare our hearts and minds, gearing up for what tonight holds. Every night has been amazing. Our bad nights have been great, so it just goes to show you how what God has been doing.
Yeah, for people that don't know, explain a little bit about what all goes on in the MISFIT Tour and what happens and some of the artists that are participating.
Well, the MISFIT Tour consists of a potpourri of artists ranging from Oriah, who does spoken word, rap, I don't know, everything. She does it all. She's a beast. She kills the game. So Molly Music, who is amazing. You know, he sings, raps. Everybody's like doing everything. Ambassador, who's just killing it every night. You know, like real electric and whatever. Myself. Then we got B-Rife out here. You know, just a lot of different flavors. You know, just a multiplicity of approaches, you know what I mean? And that's beautiful because we get to see unity in the diversity of the body and all of these just various forms of expression, you know. So it's been a beautiful thing. You know, MISFIT, the whole idea is, you know, by definition, is just one who is, you know, distinctively different and uncomfortable with his or her surroundings, and so every Christian can relate to what it means to be a misfit. You know, we don't fit in, you know, to the world's system or the world's paradigms, but we do fit in Christ. That's the beautiful thing. In Christ, we have redemption. We have the forgiveness of sins. We are hidden in Him, and we have been accepted into the beloved. And so, to this world, we are misfits. And you know, for some of us, we've even felt like misfits within the church context. You know, because you get written off. You know, the wrong sin, a taboo enough sin to get you written off in the church. And but we see throughout the scriptures that it seems like Jesus is drawn to the person who's outcasted, ostracized by the religious order. And so we're just excited to be out here proclaiming the love of Jesus, the mercy and the grace of God, the kindness of God, His truth, and His way, you know, and as His misfits. So.
Yeah. You mentioned too kind of the outcasts, and to me a lot of this I know revolves around Xist, and they've got you're on the label, Ambassador's on the label, Jahaziel, and all of you guys have been very transparent in your music lately, and it seems almost like it's kind of the label or camp for people that have gone through some stuff recently and kind of come back, and just wondered if you kind of felt that, like you said, it's kind of a little bit like the church probably should be, maybe not always is.
Absolutely, absolutely right. Yeah, I don't think Xist intended to be that. Yeah. But I think it is just sort of turned out that way. Oh, it's like, you know, they have, I salute them, you know what I mean, because they did what a lot of people wouldn't do, you know what I mean? They dared, you know, to reach out when we were, you know, at the bottom, you know what I mean? So they had the foresight to see what God could do with us, even when we didn't have the foresight to see it. You know what I mean? And when others didn't have the foresight to see it, because when they first reached out to me, I wasn't interested, just because I just wasn't in that space. I wasn't trying to sign with any label or anything. But they could see farther than I could at the time. Matter of fact, Sean Simmons said, "Yeah, you're saying that now." He said, "I'm gonna give you 3 months." And here I am, you know, to about a year and a half later. So yeah, Xist is amazing just for, you know, being like Christ in that sense, you know what I mean, and reaching out to the misfits and bringing us on board, and then look at what God has been doing in and through us and them. So
one thing I know, when I knew that I might be interviewing you, I was trying to think, what could I ask that hasn't already been covered? You've done a lot of interviews. You've talked very openly in your music. What's one part of your story that's been underreported, would you think?
I don't know. You probably had to ask me a question.
Yeah.
More specific.
Yeah.
You know, I've probably been open about the entire thing. You know, from the the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, yeah, I've talked about my marriage. I've talked about my restoration. I've talked about reconciliation. I've talked about my fall. I've talked about the state of brokenness I was in. I've talked about the revival. You know, I don't know what else more there is to
yeah,
talk
no, that's
about.
good. That's good.
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. One thing too, I wanted to ask both kind of you and Ambassador. Did you wrestle with how much of your story to put into your music? Because it seems like in the past it's been very much, putting Christ first. And I wondered if you felt like if you start to deal with some of your testimony, does it feel like you're making yourself the center, where in the past it was easy to put Christ in front? I know obviously that's a way of showing what Christ does, but just wonder too if that's just a natural human thing that you might have wrestled with.
Ambassador might have wrestled with that a little more than me, because I was sort of, if you just listen to my body of work, I sort of did that on Open Book as well.
Yeah.
And then I didn't do it on Big Picture. Big Picture was just God's redemptive story, and the faith was very, much the faith, not a faith, but the faith,
Yeah.
So I just think that I just write from my heart, man. And so for me, I really don't think twice about what I'm writing. I mean, there are some moments where I say, okay, I do have to be intentional about, only thing I'm mostly intentional about is injecting and introducing, the heart of God into my story. I think that's the key, because I think that's what you see even in Open Book. One of the things I said was that the historical biblical narratives are intended for us to see God in the life of these characters and individuals. So it's not just so that we look at David, it's so that we look through David, look and see God in the life of David.
Yeah.
Not just we look at Mary, but we sort of look through Mary to see God in the life of Mary. And
I guess in the same way, don't necessarily look at you, but look through you and your story.
Yeah. I'm not a wall, I'm a window.
Yeah.
So if people can look through my life and see God in my life, in the entire journey, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, the brokenness, the failures, the restoration, the life, you feel me, the Grammys, the bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
God in all of that. And I think that so for me, I really didn't wrestle much with that, and then when I see the responses, people are connecting with it in the same spirit that I wrote it. I wasn't writing about myself just for the sake of writing about myself. I'm telling my story, and I'm really telling my story, but in light of a bigger one. You feel me? And so one of the things I've been saying is that I've even wanted non-Christians to get a hold of this CD, so that they can see God in the life of a man just like them. You know what I mean? No different. I tell people I'm no different than Brad Pitt or anybody else.
Yeah.
But I was very, I still was very careful when I wrote this album, because I had to be sensitive to all the parties involved. You know what I mean? So that's the line I think that I was. If there's any line that I was, concerned about, that I say too much here, too little here, or, I didn't want to lose the impact and the force of being totally transparent. But I didn't want to be so transparent that I compromise.
Yeah.
You feel me? Relationships, or I compromise, people's perception of others. So that was the thin line that I think I was constantly letting people hear it, just to get just to get some wisdom and counsel on how far have I said too much, that kind of thing.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's all. The album's called The Whole Truth, right? It's out now?
The Whole Truth, yeah.
Okay, cool. Any last words?
Buy it.